I saw a post on Facebook. I don't know if I said this last time with you, and you would probably agree with this as well. It was like, my fourth grade team, my fifth grade team, we can't get the ball past half court. My best ball handler gets the ball stolen from him every time we get the ball out of the first pass. What are some good drills to do? I was like, not signing your team up for any more tournaments and just focusing on basketball.
Getting
Like,
better.
that
Yeah.
is the best thing to do. That is the best drill to do. Stop spending money on that. I think parents, honestly, and no, like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but like, there's some teams out there that you see get thrown together, and personally, I think it's there for like a picture. Like, oh, hey, look at my child playing basketball,
Mm-hmm.
who has no business being in a game. They're getting smacked 40-6.
Well, here's what I think too. Like, there's some validity to like maybe fourth grade is a little bit too easy to play or too early to play travel basketball. But at the same time, I was playing travel basketball in fourth and fifth grade. But I think for one, to your point, it needs to be a group of kids that are ready for that, which, for my youth basketball travel team, like we were very much ready to play
I was just about to say that.
outside of just Laramie, Wyoming, you know.
Would you guys play?
But
Would you
I'll
guys play up?
Yeah, like we would,
Yep.
you know how it is in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's get in how you fit in. So
Absolutely.
we would play up. We would play our age group, a little bit of everything, but we were ready for that. But also at the same time, like we took our lumps too, of those 35 to 15 games where the other team was just way better than us. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I think if you're going to get your kids into travel basketball at that young age, really at any age, and you're playing outside of just your sphere of competition, you should be ready to take some major L's. Like that's just part of it.
Absolutely. Like, I remember, like, that's how we were fourth, fifth grade playing R8. We'd go to tournaments, play our division, and be entered in like the grade above us too. And
Hmm.
we'd get
So you're
smacked in
playing
those.
eight
Like,
games in a day.
yeah, we'd win our division, and then we'd,
Yeah.
like, randomly win a couple games of up playing up and stuff. But the majority of the time we were getting beat. Some close, some blowouts, but it helped us. I'm saying, like, some of
Hmm.
these kids don't even know where they're at on the basketball court. Like me and you, when we
Yeah.
played, we understood how to play the game. We understood transition. Like, there's some teams out there that do, and then there's some teams out there that's like, yo, what are you doing right now?
That they're
Because,
not ready for travel basketball.
like,
Yeah, for
no,
sure.
keep your kids in the local Y league right now until you figure it out a little bit. It's okay to just keep
Hmm.
playing those. Like, we got kicked out of we got kicked out of the rec center league in Gillette. They
Because
said,
you guys were just
you guys cannot play in this league, or if you do, you have to split the kids up and send them throughout. And they were like, nope. Our coach was like, nope. All right. So we went full on
well.
travel ball.
That's what those youth leagues are for. They're for the
Absolutely.
kids that are more out there to just have fun and like it's not quite as competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like if you have a group of kids that they're ready for just kind of an elevated level of competition, sure, at fourth, fifth grade, enter them into some travel basketball, see where it goes. But yeah, no, I agree with you. There are definite, and this is true all the way up through like the high school ages as well, where it's like this was just some team thrown together that these kids have never played much competitive basketball in their life, and now they're deciding to play, competitive travel basketball. It's just doesn't make sense.
um, did you see my stats this weekend on Instagram?
Your steps, yeah, dude, you put in some mileage.
That's crazy. I was like, I want to look at my watch, or I look at my thing on my phone for my watch, and 22 games, 46,346 steps logged, 26 and a half miles ran. That's more than a
I know
marathon.
your
I did a
knees are
marathon.
barking, dude.
I didn't. I woke up. I woke up. I felt pretty good. So this was hilarious. I staying at a Super 8, and I got the jacuzzi room. I got upgraded for free to the jacuzzi room. So I had a
Oh,
big
geez, at
ass
the
hot
Super
tub in
8.
my room. That was
You
nice
just
though.
had the points or what?
Saved saved my saved my legs. I did a I didn't have points or anything like that. He just was I was he's like, "So you got a single queen room?" And I'm like, "Oh, I thought I got a king." I was like, do you think there's any single kings open?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. What I do have for you though, this is a great deal. It's the free it's the queen single
Plug.
jacuzzi room." I'm like,
Beautiful.
"Hey, I could
Say
use
no
a free
more,
hot
buddy.
tub.
Yeah,
Sign me up."
exactly.
I said it's free, right? No extra charge. But yeah, that saved my legs. I used it like a hot tub the first night, and then the next Saturday night, dude, I filled that thing up with ice, and
So the jacuzzi was
that's
in
about
your
it.
room?
Yeah, yeah, like 5 feet from my bed.
Mm.
I thought
That's
I thought it
clutch.
was
I didn't know they
hilarious.
had that at the Super 8. Super 8
Me
must have
neither.
upgraded.
I thought it was hilarious. But no,
That's
back
big time.
to back to that. I texted you this. What was the question I asked you? Oh yeah, I
Oh,
said
what are the main things that you hear when from like
what
parents
what
or whatever that
what
they
is
they
the
don't know
most
ball?
common phrase you hear with youth ball parents that you're like, okay, yeah, you don't know basketball. Go ahead.
Do you want me to say the ones you
Yeah.
said? Because you had the
No.
best ones.
Oh yeah. I guess yeah. We could rebound, 3 seconds, and last but not least, over the back.
Over the back. I feel like over the back is the best one, and three next is 3 seconds.
I had a coach this weekend. That's over the back. That's not in the definition of basketball. Okay,
It's
it's
not in the rule
displacement.
book,
It's
buddy.
called a push. It's called displacement. I can out jump somebody and reach over you and grab the ball and not make contact. That's not
Mm-hmm.
my fault that I'm just a little bit more athletic than you right now.
A
So I'm
little
not going to
taller,
punish that kid.
Sorry.
I said that. I'm not going to punish that kid. Okay, well that makes sense. Well, yeah, obviously. Or
Yep.
sideline coaches, dude. I
What was
hate
your
hate
sideline coach incident this
championship
weekend?
championship game, and this it's fourth grade basketball. These kids cannot shoot. No, there's no 3 pointers being made in this game.
Yeah.
Like we're jumping 2 feet over the free throw line just trying to get the ball there, type situation. And mom is on the sideline yelling, "Shoot the three! Shoot the three!" Like I have my whistle in my mouth, like, "Don't shoot the three! Don't shoot the three!
Please don't shoot the three.
Please don't shoot the three!" Like, what are we doing?
I'm trying to think of some
Oh
other
my
good
gosh.
ones that are the standard
That's over and back when they're not when they just get a foot over and then they
uh
bring the foot back and then they like retreat dribble. Like, no, all 3 points were not like he still had a foot
mhm.
and the basketball in the backcourt. So he can oh, this was the Tate, this is the best one. You will laugh at this. So this first game of the weekend. And these parents are seeing like it seemed like it honestly felt like it, but it wasn't going on, but it felt like Sturgis kept getting the jumps. And I was like, have we switched this? Because they're happening in such a weird timing that it felt like almost every on-court jump was going to Sturgis.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, he's like, dude, he's like, I'm marking. And I looked at the score sheet, dude. He was marking them off. And I'm like, okay. And the guy next to him, like, their parents from opposing teams. And this was the opposing team's coach that, or parent that was
Mhm.
doing the score sheet. So I was like, okay, I trust it. And so we start the fourth quarter, and it was white ball. So Sturgis was on defense, and I was like, white gave the inbounds. Literally, instantly, jump ball happens, right? So I go jump ball black because I already know change of possession. This guy
Mhm.
from behind, person behind goes, it's been black ball every single time. I was like, if you're gonna bitch at me, at least understand the rules of basketball. Because White started with
Mhm.
the ball at the quarter, and that means the possession changes. Jump ball
Yeah.
happens, so black ball. Everyone's just all taken
That is
aback, like,
absolutely
oh,
correct.
like yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that, but it's like, dude, if you're gonna yell at the anyone, if you're gonna yell at the officials, at least know the rules, please.
Yeah, and like were the jump balls like the other team was getting them at the start of the quarter,
Yeah,
or was it
yeah.
halftime?
It was like halftime. It was just one of them weird ones where just like, dude, it felt like
It just
the
felt
way it
like
played
the
out.
other team was getting them.
Maybe because like
Yeah.
I wasn't the one calling the jump ball for White. I wasn't the one physically there in position to be like, oh, jump. I was the
Mm.
back. I was the trail official, so like maybe that's why. And I kept seeing the ones on black, so I did ask, but I was like, no, dude, this is correct. Ah,
I will
this
say
is
this
correct.
as an official, keeping track of jump ball is one of the harder things. I learned the
hmm
trick of
Putting
like
something in
I
your
always
pocket.
keep I always keep chapstick in my pocket and switching it every time. That's a good little trick that somebody taught me. But also, like, especially when you get to the older groups, traveling is kind of hard. Is for myself personally is kind of hard to pick up. I would say
It's
traveling for me is when I
hmm
ref is my most missed call.
my biggest thing is like the physicality around the rim, like being like super consistent with what I'm calling. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
because sometimes I want to let them play, but then sometimes it's like, okay, we gotta dial this thing in. Like we had to dial
yeah,
one game in a little bit, but traveling for me is harder at the younger level than it is at the lower level because everyone on every possession's yelling travel. And I'm like, yes,
exactly.
I
Yeah,
know, I
everybody
understand.
thinks it's a travel.
And it's like travel, travel. And, there's times when you turn around and you're like, I know, but like, do you want to watch them at least attempt to play basketball or well, it makes them better. It's like, do you really want that? Because I can make life hell
Mm-hmm.
and we will
We
not
can
get
make that
anywhere.
happen. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
won't
those
get
younger
anywhere.
teams, those younger kids, like I feel like some of it is letting travels go a little bit more.
Yeah. The egregious ones, you're like, okay, yeah, you can't take 7 steps into a jump shot, so you traveling here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take off running with the basketball, but I'll be a little nice to you on the jump stop that your feet stutter a little bit, you know.
I don't, Bush, have we ever ref together on the same court?
And Rapid, I'm pretty sure it was either
Oh,
Rapid or
that's right.
Spearfish.
That's right. With at South Dakota
My
Mines is,
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember you
I
switched
do
me a
remember
game.
that.
Because I was absolutely not reffing Thunder Basin in Campbell County.
Oh
Nope,
yeah, I do remember that.
nope.
I do. There was too
I
much.
Nope.
There was too much personal history there.
Well, I got
Yeah,
called
I
out
remember that.
in
That's
uh
funny.
in the Thunder Basin game. They're like, "Come on, Bush, you're from Gillette," and I'm like, "Yo, whoa, hey, just
Uh
because I'm
huh.
from Gillette, like, chill out." But and then I just knew I'm like, this is gonna be a close game. I'm like Thompson. Rory was my ninth grade coach, and Bubs was my high school coach. One of my high school coaches. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with this. Please, please, for the
I
sake of
blew.
for
I
the sanity of this court, of everyone in this court, do not let me do this game.
yeah.
We will have people
I
leaving this gym.
I blew a call so bad, and it cost Bubba the game one year at Black Hills. I blew the call so bad. The other, I think they were playing St. Thomas More, and they were up like two or something. I don't remember the situation, but they were inbound and going the length of the floor, and St. Thomas More had too many guys on the floor, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't catch it till like as St. Thomas More was scoring the game-winning bucket, and Bubba's over there like, just call it, and I'm like, Bubba, it
I don't know what to
like
do here.
it had already happened, dude. Like I can't just rewind it. I was like, dude, I missed it so bad, and he was super cool about it.
To be
But
honest with you,
man,
I'm
I blew that call.
and I would have done the same thing as you, but from continuing to ref and stuff, I'm alive. Like I'm pretty sure you can just be like, whoa, 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 that's my bad. That's six dudes on the. You know what I mean? Like, but in the moment, you're like
Like
not even.
literally be like, no, that don't
Yeah,
count. Yeah.
yeah. You can go talk to the other official. Like, hey, let's like come here, bro. Like, come here real quick.
hmm
What do you want to do here?
Which I
But
should have
that
done. Like
that's a big call,
I
though.
should have
I
at the
mean,
time. At the time, I should have done that. Whereas like wave it all off. There's too many dudes on the floor, and literally get like tee the other
hmm
team up because that's what you're supposed to do. Um, but it all happened so quick, and then everybody was like celebrating and I'm like, I don't feel like
it's
I
team
can
cam.
reverse this right now. Yeah,
It's team
exactly. Like
cam.
let's keep it moving here.
Like at the end of the day, Bo was gonna be like, man, he probably told his team like he told me when I was in high school, like y'all have yellow socks right now. So you
Mm-hmm.
had the lead late, and then you had white socks, and then when you finish the game, they're yellow. So we need to go change your socks. It's like, dang,
We
man.
got a little yellow.
He made up a he yeah, dude, yellow socks. We yellow socking it today, boys. He said that before, like plenty of times in the summer. Like we had a 10-point, 12-point lead on a pooter one time, and we blew that thing and lost in overtime. And he was like, "Oh yeah, the glory of," and it was a championship game. He's like, "Oh yeah, the glory of just sitting in the car with stinky yellow socks. It's just wonderful."
Yeah, we've all
Like,
been there.
thanks, man. Thanks, man. We didn't mean to.
Dude, I just think about the times like going back to how you mentioned, you'd be playing in two different age groups or two different brackets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Back in the day when there wasn't game limits on how many games a kid could play in a day. Sometimes you're working your way back through that loser's bracket and you're playing on your seventh game of the day.
Are there game limits
Those were the
now?
good old
That's a
days.
thing.
In a lot of circuits and like tournaments, they'll put game limits on kids. Yeah,
Yeah, that ain't a thing out here. You can play. Like
play however
I
many
could
you
play
need.
I could play my age group and play up, but you can't play down. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously that's a no-brainer, but
yeah.
it's
Um,
it's youth basketball.
talk talk about your thoughts on old Jimmy Butler right now, because I got some thoughts myself.
Um, I'll probably let you take the most majority of the floor on this one after I get
Yeah,
done
dude.
speaking, because I know you texted me about it. I just think it's cheese, man. Part of me is kind of blaming the organization as well. Like they knew this was gonna happen. They knew. Look at this man's history. He has a history of pettiness. He did it in Minnesota. He did it in Philly. Wait, did he do
Yep.
it in? He did do it in Philly. He did. He's done
I
it
think he
everywhere.
did. I think he did it to get out of Chicago as well.
And it's just like it's not the right way to do it. It's unprofessional. I'm not a fan of it because you're letting your teammates down. It's like I know Shaq and Chuck got into a big argument about it, but I was on Chuck's side, man. Like screw the like put your ego aside and at least come play with your dudes. Like I'm gonna look at you very differently at the end of the day. I mean, I'm not in the NBA. I'm not making millions of dollars and have to sign contracts or anything, but it's just petty in my opinion. And at the same time, Miami could have avoided this and parted ways with him earlier in this, but I feel like Pat Riley's stubborn ass just kept trying to figure a deal out. But it's like, dude, you guys gotta trade him.
You literally just kind of hit on all of the things that I was going to. That's crazy because we didn't even talk about it. Um, I think you're spot on with saying this is the same trick from the same dude that he's used multiple times already. Um, and I think you're spot on with saying that. I mean, the Heat are notorious for they run their organization this way, and either you conform to it or you're gone, or
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to fit. And I think that's exactly. I think it's a um, unstoppable force meets an immovable object right now because Jimmy Butler's stubborn and he's gonna keep being petty and doing what he's doing, and same with Pat Riley, he's not gonna waver on what he wants and being a little bit petty himself. But like the thing that gets me and kind of where I'm like, okay, Jimmy, you're just taking it too far is that it seems like he does this. He acts up and he creates a big scene when he wants out of somewhere or when it's not the situation he wants. Instead of like I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. From my view, instead of like being professional about it and still going to work and still doing your job on a daily basis, kind of like you said, playing for your guys and playing for your teammates, do it for that. Like I think we've all been part of teams or part of scenarios where we don't feel like we're completely bought into what's going on or we're not happy with our situation, but you have a choice to deal with it the right way. And to me, it's kind of his cop out for like, instead of just going, and being professional about it and saying I want to trade, but still coming to work on a daily basis, I'm just going to be petty and be difficult to deal with. So they get me out of here sooner.
Yeah, do it for not only that, bro. Do it for the kid in Milwaukee that wanted to see you play. Like, do it for the kid
Mm.
in LA that wanted to see you play that may never get to see you play. That his parents were like, "Hey, we're gonna go to this Miami Heat game because Jimmy Butler's gonna be there." But oh, hey, sorry, Jimmy Butler's not playing because he's just being he's acting like a 5-year-old does when he doesn't get his way.
Yeah, he missed the plane, or he walked out like today.
Did you
Today
hear
the
that
report
story?
was he walked out a shoot around, or like whatever it is. It's like, dude, you're deciding to not play, and like we've talked about already, just be petty when it's like you could just make your life so much easier.
Did you hear the full plane story?
I didn't.
Dude, he made him sit on the Armac for like 5 hours or something like that, or the tarmac
What? The
for like
tarmac?
5 hours for plenty of time, waiting on him, and then he finally just was like, "I'll meet y'all there."
Wow.
Yeah.
5 hours. I can't believe they waited for him that long. I would have been like, dude, we're out of here.
Yep.
30
For
minutes
people
in,
that
especially with all the crap that was going on, I'd been like, dude,
yeah,
yeah, we're 30 minutes late. We're out of here.
and for people that don't believe that this is what we talked about, like it's right there. Jimmy Butler. You
Yeah.
seen Jimmy Butler stuff? I know
And
that's a little
that's what's
backwards,
crazy
but
is we didn't talk about details at all, and you've had the same feelings about it as I did.
so not so just to avoid talking in a circle here, because I feel since we got the same opinion on this, but need to trade him. What are your thoughts on the AD LeBron James comments on them not being pleased with the front office not doing more? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, you would think that both of those guys had a lot of say in the players that were signed or traded for or whatever. So it's
What
kind
more
of
do you
like,
want?
yeah, it's kind of like, not that they were the ones making the move specifically, but you guys were probably in those meetings or a part of a lot of those conversations to get
I
these
mean,
guys there. So, kind of what are you mad at?
I know you wanted Donovan Mitchell, but he's leading the Cleveland Cavaliers to the best record in the NBA. Oh wow, second best record in the NBA. But like,
Mm-hmm.
what more do you want? That's what I think. What more do you want? You've asked for everything in a handbasket, and what they shouldn't have done is blow up that team that won the bubble. That
Mm-hmm.
team would have won outside of the bubble, 1,000%,
You don't
in
think
my
they would
opinion.
have won?
No, yes, they had a better. That team was the best. That team was the best assembled team that they had.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree.
That team, and in my still, dude, is still. I still think that the team before they had AD was one of the better teams too. They were
Which
second
one?
in the West. His first year with all the young guys, Kuzma, Ingram, Lonzo, they were second in the West before
Oh,
he pulled his groin. They were second in the
before who
West.
did? Oh, before
LeBron,
LeBron pulled his groin.
second in the West, beating the Kevin Durant era Warriors in Golden State in a primetime game. And he on Christmas, I think, and he hurt himself. Second in the West.
That is true.
And then they went and blew that team up. Uh, That was that was I was excited when he went to LA with those young guys. I was like, man, he could this might be a good team. And then when they blew that up, I was like, this is the dumbest thing in the world because now you're just setting this franchise up for future failure again.
Wasn't that the whole thing about like when Braun doesn't like the roster he has, he just tells him to blow it up? Was that
Yeah.
when that whole conversation was going on?
Yeah. If you don't play well, Brown's gonna trade you.
Yeah. Oh man. Which
Because
maybe is
Lonzo,
true. Who
yeah.
knows? But no,
He
I
probably
think I think with that it's you know especially LeBron, but I imagine AD at this point in his career, you know those guys are being informed of potential moves to be made. So it's like
oh, a
you
thousand
probably
percent.
okayed these things, you know?
Mm-hmm. They okayed D Russell. They okayed Russell Westbrook. They okayed all those guys that they sent off. Um, still with
Yeah.
staying with hoops. What is I know we talked about this. Um, we'll flip over to the college side of things real quick because I had that little dust up little conversation with former national champion Theo Pinson where I just cannot believe we can't place a tiny bit. Like we can't even place just like a tiny bit of blame on a head coach that is neglecting fundraising. Like a tiny bit. You can't even put a tiny bit of blame there.
Neglecting fundraising.
Like I tried. I'm just like,
uh,
dude. There's a Tar Heel fan, like super fan. I was just like, I said, I'm
yeah,
losing
he
my
was going
mind.
at you, man.
I was like, but I'm gonna direct message you on this because I'm gonna save all the stupid idiots that reply to us. But I'm losing my mind here. Are people not understanding that the head coach is involved with every aspect of his program? And he's like, people just can't take off their Carolina blue glasses long enough to live in reality.
So
It's a
he was
fact.
agreeing with you
1,000%. Like I just don't understand. Like, yes, we got out NIL. We did. It's
for
obvious. I've
sure.
said it all year. He's not wrong. Theo is not wrong. But that's still like, for the life of me, I just can't understand how the head coach who has to be the guy that recruits players, and how do you recruit people now with money? I just, for the
Money,
life of
especially at
me,
that level, yeah.
cannot understand how it's not his fault, or even just a small bit, like tiny bit, like that much.
Well, for like what was where like I want to know where they missed. Definitely at the big spot, you know. They missed a lot at the big
Oh,
spot
that's where they missed 100%.
and maybe it was they like I guess I'm going to ask you this question. did they miss on top kids that ended up going elsewhere, or were these guys that they have their top recruits and they just missed on kind of
Well,
what they would be when they stepped on campus?
Jalen Washington is the only guy that we've had since his freshman year who's like, I'll say a true Tar Heel, been there his whole career and
Yeah.
whatnot, but he has not turned out the way he was supposed to be. And we missed in the transfer portal. We missed badly in the transfer portal,
Mm-hmm. Like with
and
who in
that's where it
particular?
was. Like, I I couldn't even tell you who we were going after. I know. Oh, I know we went after. I know we tried to go after Omar Ballo, who went to Indiana. I
Yeah.
know we tried to go after like a couple dudes, and it was just like we completely missed because we had no money to offer. And like I said before, those
Yeah.
kids would rather. What would you rather do? Would you rather go make a name? Like, I understand every point that he was playing. Kids don't want to play for the name on the front of the jersey anymore. They want to play for the paycheck.
No.
I get that. I understand that, but still, the NBA in the NBA, who's responsible for when your team loses, even though they can't afford certain players. Even though Brooklyn and Charlotte can't afford all these guys, who's responsible at the end of the day? It's the
The
head
head
coach.
coach.
So why can't just be like, brother, put your bias aside. I understand you won a national championship with him, but it's okay to ask for better. It's okay to challenge him and hold him accountable. Like, that's all we're
Yeah.
asking.
No,
That's all I'm
I'm with
asking.
you, and I think that's the nature of the beast of coaching. You and I both know this is when the team's playing well and when you're clicking on all cylinders and winning games, the players get the love, which rightfully so they should. But when it's opposite and your team isn't playing well, that blame goes all the way up to the coach, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast. And so I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's any different here. So I'm with you as far as like, certainly is all of the blame on Hubert? No,
No, players got to
but
play.
he needs to shoulder a lot of that burden for sure.
Um, and people were coming at me saying like, "Well, the head coach isn't involved with NIL at all. That's wrong." I said, and I saw it's like simple because one guy's like, "It's a simple Google search. It took me 30 seconds," and I'm like, "Okay, it takes me 30 seconds too. So let's see if this guy's right." And I was like, "Can coaches work with NIL?" It says yes. Coaches can work with name, image, and likeness activities for college athletes. What can coaches do? Coaches can help with fundraising by making appearances at events or donating autographed items. Coaches can help athletes navigate NIL opportunities. Coaches can help athletes stand out and succeed in the NIL landscape. So yes, coaches are involved in NIL. And then I saw one other thing. It says NCAA rules prohibit coaches from making direct NIL donations. This was an article on December 17th, 2024. But Brian Kelly will use a workaround by funneling his donation through the Tiger Athletic Foundation, a booster group that financially supports LSU athletics. So he is sending money, his own money, the head coach, to a foundation who then takes that money and puts it into the athletics. The loophole.
Yeah, and I'm sure with all this NIL stuff, I'm sure people are finding loopholes left and right. This is the thing for me. You have your pool of NIL money.
Mm-hmm.
You know that those coaches are in those conversations of where that NIL money is going because who's recruiting these kids?
The coaches.
The coaches. So it's not the boosters. Yes, the boosters have the money. They're making the donations, this, that, and the third. That's awesome. They're not the ones recruiting these kids. They're not the ones out on the road saying, like, this is our top point guard that we want in this 2026 class. The coaches are telling those boosters or those NIL people that are involved directly with that stuff they're telling them where to put their money.
Mm-hmm.
Why would a booster that's giving millions of dollars of NIL say I want this guy, or like we need to go after this guy, and maybe it's Duke, and Duke is like we have no interest in recruiting that kid. So those
Mm-hmm.
coaches are involved in those conversations.
Yeah, 100%. It's just my bone to pick with everyone was it's okay to hold like this is okay to hold him accountable because this is not the Carolina way. And someone was like, "Well, what's the Carolina way?" Because Roy Williams' last year we were terrible. He missed the turn, Roy Williams' last years were bad. Well, yeah, I get it. Things were starting to change too, for one,
Hmm.
and that's where you really saw the change. But two, okay, his first year we made the national championship game as an 8 seed. We lucked our way. We won our way in through a good run in February. Really. The next year, preseason number 1 was out of the top 10 before Christmas break, or out of the top 25 before Christmas break. Never came back into it and missed the tournament. Didn't even declare for the NIT. Last year, 1 seed, lost in the Sweet 16 to Alabama. I mean,
Which
played
was a tough
terrible.
game.
Was a tough game. Didn't play very well. This year, top 10 team out of the top 25 by Thanksgiving by Christmas break. Haven't found our way back
Hmm.
in. 13-8 on the verge of missing the tournament. Well, it says we're an 10 seed right now in the bracketology, but outside of that, I don't see Carolina getting an 11 seed. Hell no. So to me, like that's not Carolina basketball. That's where I'm used to Carolina, who has the most number 1 seeds in the history of college basketball. The most final, like this isn't it. It's okay to ask for better.
No, it certainly is not.
It's
I
okay to
mean,
ask
and
for
I
better.
think with Hubert, it seems his track record is very volatile. They have good years and bad years, but I think it's about like, and you can answer this question: what he does sustainable? Like is it? Yeah, you have your up years and your down years. Is what he does a sustainable thing where you can look at this and be 10 years into it and be like, I'm okay with 2 years being really, really good and then 1 year being pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. I just I don't like the first year we had him. We ran the first 2 years like with Baycott and them and Nance and Manic. We ran so much horn actions, horns, 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 horns. Hey, let's run some more horns. Like this now, it's just like NBA action, ball screen, ball screen, ball screen on the wing, ball
Yeah.
screen, ball screen, ball screen. Brother, let's 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 switch it up. Let's stop being stale and predictable every time. But that's how I feel, anyways, from watching their games. It feels like it's the same offense every single
Mm-hmm.
time down the court. This small of a roster, just run around. I, I don't care. I'd be okay with that. Something different, but I just wish there would be some more creativity offensively. Maybe I'm just not good at seeing X's and O's, and maybe I'm blind. But to me, it's kind of the same stuff every time.
No, I'll say this. I think part of that is because their bigs are limited offensively. Um, they aren't some of these guys that they're used to that you can give the ball to on the block or in the short corner and you feel like you're going to get a good look out of it. Like,
Dominate the offensive rebounds. That's the one thing
yeah.
we haven't done in 3 years.
Well, and I feel like you know this too. How much of a relief is it just as a coach when you have a big that you can feed the basketball into on the block and you feel like you're going to get something productive out of it. Like that's
It's the
such a
best feeling
huge
ever.
like it's a huge relief off of the shoulders of a coach because when you have to rely on guards or wings at all times to create your shots and create the looks that you're wanting in your offense, you do become one dimensional. You become it's ball screen, and if we don't have the dive to the rim or we don't have the shot, it's spray it out. And if we have open shots, we take them. If not, it's kind of just space and play a little bit. But when you
Mm-hmm.
have those guys where it's like boom, post feed, we're either going to get a good look from him directly or he's going to make the right read and draw help to get another great shot. That's such a huge thing for a coaching staff.
And as a player too, it's just a freedom
Yeah,
sense of thinking
for
like, oh
sure.
yeah, they're looking at him now. Maybe I can cut. Maybe I can do all this stuff. But yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, I could beat that one into oblivion, but it's
Into a
best
pulp.
that I just end it on that one. Still
Well, I'll
goes
tell
Hog
you
Heels.
this: Duke is Duke is down 12 right now in the first
What's
half at
what's
home.
what's the spread for that game? That's this Saturday.
Um,
Saturday.
I want to talk about some Armac pick'em slash Armac basketball, just because um, things are starting to heat up a little bit here in this race for the Armac.
Oh Lord, just real fast. You guys have an 89% chance to win. Um, is there a line yet? No line has been set. Jesus Lord
Oh, that's on
Almighty.
Saturday, right?
Yeah. We average more points per game, but our points allowed is absurdly bad. 76.4 to
Mm-hmm.
59.3. We gonna get set
It
off.
might be. It
Oh, we're
might
in
be.
Cameron. Let's go. RJ gonna have a night. We're gonna win.
No,
We're gonna
he's
win.
not. He's not
We're
that
gonna win.
guy.
Yes, he is. He is that guy. You want to talk Armac? Okay, so
Yeah. Um, I wanna just piggyback on this Colorado Christian thing you've talked about a couple times. Um,
be my guest.
and I don't, and for the people that disagree, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but Bush could not have been more correct about the way this season was going to play out for the old Cougs there at Colorado Christian.
Mm-hmm. I,
Could not have been more spot on. I will
they
say
have
this. I'll say this. Hold on. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. They could go on a
certainly.
historic run and they could prove us wrong, and I would welcome that, quite
They
frankly,
could play this right
because
here and go win the national championship, and I will applaud them.
yeah, and I would think that would be awesome because that's just cool. Stuff like that is cool. Um,
But
it's
but
not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, and they're gonna finish right where they belong, or right where not
mm-hmm.
necessarily where they belong. That was kind of harsh. I don't mean that, Colorado Christian fans. They're gonna finish right where they were expected to finish.
Like think of
Now
yeah.
I did some research. This team is certainly not the Colorado Christian teams of old that were 4-win seasons and 3-win seasons. Um, but there's levels to this stuff in the RMAC. You know what I mean? There's levels to it, and they're just
Oh,
not
there's
quite there.
uh, sorry, didn't buy the stock. That stock was everyone. I'm gonna just call you out, Armac Insider. You had all. You said it. You said it all summer. You said it the whole time. I even told Hill because I would tell Hill because I'd be like, dude, what is this guy? What is this guy talking about? Like, there's no way you can be buying that stock. And I applaud the two players. Like, they have talent. They do. Don't
They do.
don't get me wrong. But he was expecting a 360-degree turnaround, and that's not going to happen in the RMAC. That's very rare. Very rare. And
Yeah,
they're
and
they're just
and
not there yet. They're a little young, a little young.
Yeah, and I think they're a little young. I think unfortunately Colorado Christian is a school that gets poached. And what I mean by that is all of their best players are gone after a year or two, every single year.
Mm-hmm.
All of their best players get snatched up by a different RMAC school, or they move back closer to home to a different D2 or NAI or something, or whatever, whatever the case may be. It seems like there's not a lot of those kids that stay, and that's it's that way for a lot of places, but
Mm-hmm.
especially Colorado Christian, their best players end up gone a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
they don't
remember
last their tenure.
when you were playing, they were in the RMAC quarterfinals. I think they made the Final Four, and
Mm-hmm.
the next year, we got Zach Mack from that team, starting point guard. One of
Yep.
their guys graduated. Ty McGee went to Regis, who then won the RMAC
Mm-hmm.
title. Like, there's your point. So
They get
good
snatched
point there,
up, man.
Hills. Good point there,
Thank
Hills.
you.
And it's just like I said last podcast. This thing just plays out like clockwork. RMAC, the Colorado School of Mines. Look at this, 9-1. Regis, 8-2. Look at that. Fort Lewis, 9-3. Would you look at, or 7-3? All these teams are always at the top, and then you got Adams, Christian, Mines, Highlands, 3-7, 3-7, 3-7, 1-9. Like, sorry, but it's like clockwork. Happens every year.
Can we talk about what's happened to Highlands?
That's a monumental
My
meltdown.
goodness, dude.
Something happened.
Something
Let me
had
know.
to have happened.
They beat Shattered in OT. Then they beat Christian. Yeah, dude, they're not doing too well. They got beat by they got smoked by Western. Yeah. You know who's another team that people were sleeping on and still kind of were actually were sleeping on at the beginning of this whole entire thing? And I
What's
remember
that?
specifically saying, "Do not sleep on them." Is Mesa. Everyone was like, "Oh,
They'd
Mesa's in
won
the
five
tank.
in a row
Mesa's
at
in the
one
tank."
point.
You guys are crazy to think that Colorado Mesa basketball is going to ever be in the tank. Crazy to think that.
They got too much money, man. I don't know how they get all that
You're
money
you are
down
getting
there, but
keys to a Lamborghini and everything is taken care of pretty much. Like, I'm
so
pretty sure
real
that could be a
quick,
D1 school.
hold on, real quick. New Mexico Highlands started. They started 6-1
Yikes.
on the year and proceeded to lose 9 of their next 11 games.
It happens, man.
But yeah,
We
no. To
started
your
7
point,
and
Mesa. Yeah, no. At Western.
we started 7-4 at BH with
Oh, that's right. My senior
Frazier's
year.
team with your team, and then we lost the next 5 weekends in a row. It felt like, I don't think that's
Yeah,
true, but
that
it felt
was
like that.
tough, dude.
That sucked.
But
Anyways,
yeah,
what were
it's
you gonna?
it's your prediction, just or kind of um
Theory. We'll call it
your
a
not
theory.
your theory. Yeah, your RMAC theory is turning out to be pretty spot on.
You got a national champion head coach, the last RMAC national champion head coach, for one. I think, is that right?
I
No,
believe
that's not right.
so.
Did he win in
Who was the other
2002 with
one?
Metro?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
that was
him.
him, and then
And
and then he turned it
and then
over
he
to
goes to the
Clark.
NBA. Then he goes to the NBA, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, come on.
Right.
This guy knows how to coach ball. He knows ball. He knows players. He knows how to develop players, obviously. So let's just pump the brakes. It's a new team, new culture. He's installing something brand new. That takes time.
Yeah.
You're not just gonna hit the ground running, you
And a
know.
new roster. Yeah, before they lost to Shadron on Saturday, they'd won 7 straight games.
There's another one I want to look up real quick because I want to shout this. This is crazy. is what Cal Poly's doing with Coach DeGeorge. They're not doing. They're 1-8
Mm-hmm.
in conference, but they're 7-14, and they got a lot of D2 guys. Man, like that's not bad, and they're competing.
They
Like they went to
started well.
Arizona
They
State,
started
lost
the
by
season out
4.
well.
Mm-hmm. They did. They're not. They're losing, but they're close games. 82-86, 89-98 in overtime, 55-68. That's a blowout. 72-75. Like they're hanging tough. Just got their first
They are.
conference win, 78-69. Good job to him. He'll be just fine over there. I think
Switching
he's gonna be a
switching
good
gears,
coach.
I want to ask you about some UW, dude. How do you think Coach Sundance is looking there in Old Laramie?
Trending upwards.
Yeah, I
I'm a
think
huge
they've had
supporter.
some tough
I
losses,
think
some bad losses, but I think they've had some great wins as well.
maybe I'm just a little bit biased because of this right here, because we share this right here.
Boo.
That's what we
Yeah,
share.
no, I get that.
G Town, same high school. But that was the best hire in Wyoming men's basketball since Larry Shyatt. 1,000%.
That's a bold statement right there.
That dude, he's gonna win it. He's gonna win a Mountain West Conference title in the next 4 years. I guarantee it.
Really?
Yes, dude. How can you not play like yes? Think about this, man. He got
Yeah,
the. I'm not trying to. This is not a shot at any of these dudes out this team because these dudes are still. These are good players. These are Division One basketball players. But when he took that job, he had the last pickings in the transfer portal. Like he had the guys that
right,
nobody
for
wanted,
sure.
and so he took a bunch of guys with a chip on their shoulder, and he's developing a culture. Like these are like this is like the
Mm-hmm.
perfect start, in my opinion, the perfect group of dudes that you could bring in to build a culture. Kids that nobody wanted and to prove themselves. That's what Wyoming is.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants Wyoming, and Wyoming always has to prove themselves. So it's just
Yeah.
to me, it's just a perfect mix. Got in
Well,
the
and I
whole
think I
situation.
think them like I haven't seen a score of theirs, at least that I can remember this year, where they were just completely dominated, like where they just got blown out.
Texas Tech,
Even
but
the
that one,
Yeah,
that one
Texas.
was
Well,
bad.
that was early on, but like as of late,
Mm-hmm.
let me look at their schedule.
No, they're
As of
hanging in
late,
there.
like whenever I see their final scores, win or lose, they're usually pretty close games.
Um, 10-10, 3-6 in the conference, dude. That's like, come on, dude. Like, come on. That's a great start.
But like, look at these. Look at these wins and losses. Lost to Boise State by 9. You know.
We won for the first time in UNLV at UNLV for the first time in 22 years.
Oh, they did get smacked by Boise State the second time.
But still, I mean, I like where the program's going. I like who they got. I don't. I think that's just the perfect hire, just because he's a Wyoming guy and he understands. This
He
is like
knows what
a
is necessary.
this is one of them like weird jobs where Wyoming's the only one in the state, and you kind of got to understand Wyoming in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the state, you have to understand. Like we had to this, you have to work for everything out here. Even when you go play, like when you went and played down in Colorado, or if you go play like Laramie will go play elsewhere, you people like, oh, from Wyoming, they're from Wyoming, okay. And then you go out there and you pop them, and they're like, oh my god, like yeah,
Yeah,
bro, we can play too.
a little bit
What do you like the hire?
for Sundance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course. No, I think he's cut out for this job, no question, and obviously has really wanted this job. I think I would have loved to see Sundance get this job when NIL wasn't a thing, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
that's
I
true.
would have loved to see him coach the Cowboys with
Larry Nance.
somewhat of a level playing field. Well, maybe, but also bring his own guys in that
Yeah.
maybe are still a little bit underappreciated, that are a little bit under recruited, but are high talent guys, um, like Larry Nance, Josh Adams, those teams of those days. But um, I just think schools like Wyoming now are at even more of a disadvantage than they were before with
Mm-hmm.
NIL. That I think he's going to be fighting an uphill battle regardless. And he did
Mm-hmm.
it at Green Bay. You know what I mean? He did it at Wisconsin Green Bay, showed he was capable of turning a program around that was in desperate need of it. So it's by all means doable. So I don't want that to get it twisted, but I just think now he is he's kind of just fighting an uphill battle basically.
At the end of the day, the guy's a winner, and a winner's a win. Plain and simple.
Hmm. He is.
Period. Um, Football. You said you had something to say about the Lions because you picked them to
Oh,
win the
just
Super
that
Bowl.
I'm very disappointed in the old Lions. I thought they were going to be at least in the Super Bowl. Um, but they flopped, man. They flopped big time, and that's just tough. To me it's that I think Detroit is a one of those cursed sports cities,
Yeah,
to be honest with
Jared goofed, man. Jared goofed.
you. Yeah,
You know
he
who
goofed
you
big
watch?
time.
You watch Pat McAfee.
Is that
Do you
what
know?
he calls him?
You know who? Do you know who Boston Connor is? He's one of the guys on the show. He calls him Jared Goof. I'm like, that's perfect. I
Oh, it
knew this was
does.
gonna happen. Ain't no way Jared
Didn't he
Goff's
throw
gonna lead
four
nobody
TOs
to
though,
turn the
or
ball
throw
over four
forward
times.
picks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
turned it through a pick six. It was bad showing by them. Not a good one. I loved every second of it. Too bad the Rams couldn't have won. I thought we were 14 yards away from going to the Super Bowl, but it is what it
Yeah.
is. It saved me from having to deal with the pressure and the freaking heart attack of having to go up against Patrick Mahomes and the Zebras. So I'm
Yeah.
personally, I'm glad I don't have a dog in this fight because I wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, I respect that, and I just knew when Josh Allen was not awarded that first down last night that everyone was going to have an absolute field day,
That was a first
and
down
they certainly
by a
did.
mile. That was
Yeah,
a
oh, it
first
was. I
down.
agree. I agree. He got that first down.
How do you from every angle? You can't be. It happened. It happened. Oh, the draw, the ball that hit the turf, like the ball that fit the jump
Right.
ball one. Um,
And
just
here's my thing.
the
Here's
Bills
my
didn't play
thing
good
that
enough
I think
defense. The Bills didn't play good enough defense at the end of the day. They didn't. You can't. But dude, like,
exactly.
is what I said on Twitter. Can we just have one close Chiefs game that isn't mired by controversy? And not just one
Yeah, and that
controversial thing, not just one controversial thing, but like multiple. There's always
yeah.
multiple things that just add up, and it's like, what? Come on.
Yeah, and I totally understand that. The just watching the game yesterday though, like especially after Josh Allen didn't get that first down, the the Bills still had multiple opportunities to win the game, So
Absolutely.
that's kind of where I was like, if it would have been blatant robbery of the Bills, which in some ways it was in certain aspects of the game,
Oh yeah, there was
but
two first downs and and on third down was a first down, and fourth down was a first
yeah,
down. I don't understand. Like they mark, I don't understand how they mark the ball so far back like that. I'm in line with the fact that if tennis can display where the ball mark is on the court
yeah,
and you can zoom in to see the freaking milli-inch of whatever it is to see if that ball's in or out. I don't even know if that's a word, but
millimeter. You
millimeter. it's like, what are we doing? If they can do that, the NFL can certainly do that.
I
Certainly can
agree
figure
completely.
something out like that. So they need to fix that. I hope the Eagles win the Super Bowl because I'm tired. We can't keep letting these guys get away with this. We just can't.
I would love.
It's
I'm not gonna lie
atrocious.
to
It's a
you.
disgrace to the NFL.
I would love to see a three-peat. It would
And
be
see,
awesome.
that's why people like you can't be around because you just like to stir the pot on controversial things like this. And
I'll
no,
say this.
it
I hope they win. I hope they win fair and square. I would love that to be the case, but
I
it would be
wouldn't.
dope to see a three-peat.
If they win the three-peat, like, let me ask you this: if they win the three-peat, is he the GOAT? Does that put him into that category? Like, does that put him over Tom Brady?
I mean, I think it turns into like a LeBron, MJ, Kobe type situation where it's like you wouldn't
I
be
don't think there's
wrong
a yeah.
picking anybody. You wouldn't
I
be
don't think
wrong
there's
picking
a
anybody.
I don't think there's a third. I think this will end up being a Pat Mahomes and Tom Brady. But
Right, I was just
I
showing your
still
boy
think
Kobe some love, you
no,
know,
yeah.
no
No,
disrespect.
I appreciate it.
Mhm.
I think for one that right now Tom has still got it because the only two people outside of Joe Burrow to defeat Patrick in the playoffs is Tom. He beat him in the AFC Championship and then he beat him in the Super Bowl. So
Tom said, "Hey, it's not your time yet, buddy."
Tom said, I have my seventh ring is on your head. So until you get eight, I'll take it off.
Yeah,
Um,
I
think about
think
this
it's
though.
yeah. Yeah.
Just think about this. And this is the biggest what ifs in the world. Think about if everything with the Bills and the Chiefs would have been is flipped. Who are we talking about being the greatest quarterback ever? Josh Allen. That's how like I
Wait,
heard that this morning. I'm like that is a damn good
oh,
point cuz Josh
like
is
if
0-4 against
because
the
they've
Bills
yeah
or
exactly
against the Chiefs. Imagine if he
against the
was
Chiefs.
4-0 against Patrick and had four Super Bowls or it was 3-1 in the Super Bowl. We'd be talking about him being one of the greatest of all time. When
That's so
he
cool.
probably could be, but he ran into someone that's just as good as him, if not a little bit better.
And that's the crazy thing. Like in all sports, like I feel like there are examples of that in
Yeah,
basketball.
1,000%. I could give you one in NASCAR when Jimmy Johnson won 7 in a row. There was plenty of other drivers that were so damn good in that. He just took all the fun away for
Exactly.
everyone. He was
Tiger
just so
Woods
damn
in the
good.
early 2000s in golf. Like he was so good. I was talking having this conversation with somebody about Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson would be I think he already is considered one of the goats of golf.
He'd be
Um,
up there higher.
but if he was golfing at a different time than Tiger Woods, we would talk about Phil Mickelson in a completely different light. But he just happened to
Mhm.
run into Tiger Woods.
Think of all the players that were playing during MJ's era, Kobe's era, and LeBron's era that you're like, damn, if
Exactly.
like imagine if LeBron wasn't around with Steph.
Yep.
You damn near be putting
It
Steph. People would
literally.
be saying Steph is the great one of the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And it's
Sometimes you
unfortunate
run into
that
somebody that's a little bit
it
greater.
has to be Patrick Mahomes. Um, really is in the Chiefs. That just why I
Why
one
don't you?
time I said it on Twitter last night. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you've seen it, but I thought it
I
was a
don't
good
think I
tweet because
saw.
I believe that at one point it's gonna happen. That one day in my life, I was like,
What's that?
One day I'll experience a dynastic run with the Rams. It'll happen. I
Oh yeah,
refuse
I
to
do
live in
remember you
pain my
saying that.
whole life.
You
One
got
day.
to live
Yep.
through the greatest show on turf, though.
I was
That
like
was
in
only a couple
diapers.
year stretch, though.
I was 8 years old.
Yeah, you weren't
I don't
quite old
remember
enough to
that.
appreciate that. Yeah,
I remember the 25 quarterbacks we went through in 14 years.
yeah, yeah. Y'all were like the Cleveland Browns there for a while.
Yeah, we had Ryan Fitzpatrick 3 different times. Case Keenum, those guys.
All the backups.
Dudes that you don't even know. We had Nick Foles. Think Super Bowl quarterback Nick Foles was our backup, was our starting quarterback before he went to the Eagles. Yeah.
And won a championship.
But that's all I got. I'm hungry. I'm starving.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna watch the rest of this Duke game.
I hope they lose. What's the score?
They're down by 3 or 4 at halftime.
I hope they lose.
Well, I hope you lose, and NC State's not going to play as well in the second half, so there.
If you guys lose to NC State, oh my God, because we beat them. You guys suck.
Oh, I know.
All right.
All right, dude.
All right, everybody.